why we should embrace human complexity. Sometimes we forget to acknowledge our multiple identities. One morning last week, I woke up in Berlin to a single line text from a friend in the city, and suddenly, almost overnight, it was spring. I couldn't help but smile as I had almost texted her the exact same thing the day before. Winter seemed on him to have packed her bags and headed off. I went from sidestepping treacherous icy patches on the sidewalk to strolling leisurely along the riverfront in jeans and a pullover. I could almost feel the delight in my friend's message. Mine would have been bittersweet in tone. Yes, who doesn't love spring? But I couldn't shake the sense of sadness I felt about winter ending. The introvert in me was going to miss hibernating indoors with books and soup, watching the snow falling from the comfort of the couch. I needed a bit more of a transition period. It is not fully spring yet, and of course, the seasonal shift has been happening slowly in a variety of ways, but I'm left a bit disoriented because I witness these changes as though they happen all at once, as if only one season can exist at a time, while Earth systems are multifaceted, complex, and multi-layered. Funnily enough, this all made me think about how we too have complexities, how part of human being, how part of being human within the wider natural world is that we hold multiple feelings and identities simultaneously. What might we learn from acknowledging this more openly, that we can be more than one thing at once? And what might that teach us about how we open up ourselves to the realities of other people? Henry Maynell Rheam was an English artist known for his pre Raphaelite paintings in the 100s. Work winter gives way to spring. He depicts the seasons personified. Winter is an elderly woman dressed in a brown cloak and holding a cane in her right hand. She's shown walking up steps upon which fresh green foliage is growing. Her body is turning away from the viewer, and her gaze is on spring. A young maiden in a pink gown and decorated tiara with flowers blooming on either side of her. I appreciate his painting because it shows both winter and spring coexisting, even as one is departing and one is arriving. As a woman, I also can't help but reflect on the crown and maiden symbolism within the work. That is a discussion for another column, but I do want to acknowledge that we all experience different ages of ourselves coexisting from time to time, even if we are not encouraged by society to explore and reflect on that reality. We may be on one season of our lives biologically, but at times find that a younger version of ourselves feels active and alive within us. We can get trapped in our own limiting perspectives that we can only really feel, see, or be one thing. I have a friend who, whenever I ask how he is doing, takes a moment before answering. Often he'll then express two seemingly conflicting feelings. A part of me is feeling grounded and engaged, but another part of me is also feeling anxious because I'm concerned about XYZ. I've grown to admire his willingness to sit with multiple realities and even to begin practicing it myself. He's alive to the fact that we often walk around with multiple and sometimes even opposing feelings of selfhood, and that just as often we try to suppress or ignore one for the other. Sometimes we forget how to honor our own complexity as humans. We are rarely just one thing at a time. None of us is just a husband or a partner or just the strong one or just the sick one. Reem's painting, in its own way, reminds me of this part of being human and invites me to consider in what way, in what ways this feels applicable to my life now. It's another way of recognize it's another way of recognizing the complexity of our humanity. Life is not black and white, clear and straightforward, all one thing and not another. We hold multiple selves and identities simultaneously, but I think so often we get caught in this fiction of being or identifying as just one thing, and then, but uh, life is not black and white, clear and straightforward, all one thing and not another. We hold multiple selves in an identity simultaneously, but I think so often we get caught in this fiction of being or identifying as just one thing, and then we all too often also project that fiction on to others. I have been reacquainting myself with the 2019 work Two Men with Bands, Tie and Bottle by the contemporary Pakistani-born artist Salman Toor. The piece formed part of Toor's 2020-2021 Whitney Solo exhibition, How Will I Know? I remember walking through that show and being completely taken by Toor's dreamlike, almost surreal depictions of moments from the lives of young brown men, queer men, immigrants living their lives in New York and South Asia. The display caption in the exhibition described the painting as being part of a series in which Tour depicts brown men being scrutinized while traveling abroad. We see the two men from the perspective of whoever is interrogating them. They are in a seemingly bare room with drab colored walls. They have their eyes averted from the viewer's gaze and look humbly downwards. Their possessions, sneakers, a tie, and a small bottle, are laid on the table, as though these are the simple things that can define them, can determine their value, and if they will be permitted through whatever border they find themselves. I can always return to Tour when I'm thinking about holding multiple identities and realities. I suspect that the more we are able to recognize and hold the complexities of our own identities and even just our day to day feelings, the more we are able to extend that sense of openness towards others. All too often, we see unique individuals with a kind of group vision and say, in one way or another, field they're just a filled blank nationally, nationality, ethnicity, gender, race, profession, and then we struggle to appreciate their complexity and their humanity. It's strange how we are still living in times where even figures of authority and political systems still push communities and entire nations to see certain people with a singular vision. I used to teach a class on identity, these, these belonging, and narratives, and one of my favorite pieces to teach was a section from the 2019 book The Ungrateful Refugee by Iranian American writer Dina Nayeri, whose family in 1985 fled their home in Isfahan, Iran, seeking asylum in Dubai, Italy, the US, and the UK. In her book, Nayeri writes perceptibly about the immigrant experience and the challenge of integrating into a new country when that country sees you as an other, seemingly without a home, a cherished history, and a clear sense of identity and personhood. Through that lens, the beautiful complexity of an individual human being collapses in front of you, and it can affect, and often does, affect the way we treat people. Imagine this on a larger scale when we consider an entire people or country. We do it all the time. That's the country where they don't know how to govern themselves. That's the country where it's dangerous to be. Those are the people who We can get trapped in our own limiting perspectives that we can only really feel, see, or be one thing. I'm the strong one, or I'm the reliable one. I'm the one that holds it all together, or I'm the one who always just goes along with the team. Whatever the singular narrative is that we believe about ourselves, it keeps us from stepping into the fullness of our own humanity and recognizing that of others. Well, that was an article from the Financial Times, guys. I'm gonna put the link in the description below. I hope you find it useful. And take care and see you in the next one.